Howdy there, true believers. Welcome to New World Wrestling, where we talk about the world of WWE. Andy's not here today. I'm sure he'll be in the chat. We got Jack Attack IRL in real life, and she brought this one over here, so we just had to put him in. Or else
We just had to.
He was around the house. It would just been awkward to just leave him out in the living room. Well, we did this, so here we are. How are you guys feeling? First ever live New World Wrestling.
Feeling good, living better.
Gotta hear hell yeah in the chat. We got hell yeah. We got two people. Snowball said, "What's up, guys? What's up, Snowball?" And then my mom said, "Baby boy." Hey, mom.
Baby boy.
Hi, Stacey.
Unless it's Ty, who knows? What does it say?
It's
me, Ty.
Ty.
It's Ty.
What's up, Ty?
The youngest New World nerd. He's in the house, baby boy. Don't ever text me if that comes better than me ever again. So I'm your champion, Superman Nico. But
only because you tied.
Only because Jeff's advantage. It's still a win, baby. How can you guys hear us? Good. We'll put a one in the chat if you guys can hear us good, because I think we're pretty far, but it's all right. So before we jump in, the Honky Tonk Man got into the Hall of Fame.
I saw that. When was it announced? Raw?
Yeah, I think it was announced on Raw. Probably ESPN on Monday.
It's one of those per ESPN. So and so is gonna be inducted to the Hall of Fame type announcement.
Yeah. It was pretty dope. Dope as dope. Honky Tonk Man. I only know him because my dad was saying that if Ty was a wrestler, he should be that character, but a mariachi instead. And he just hit people with his guitar still. And I was like, yeah, that'd be a good one. But Ty doesn't care. Right? You don't care anymore.
It's not MMA anymore.
Yeah. If it's fixed, I don't care about it.
That's his mentality.
Yeah, that's his mentality, Ty. Whatever. You'd be a great wrestler. We hardly knew you. What else in the world of WWE happened? I think. Yeah, I think that was
just a Twitter beef between.
Oh yeah,
Ronda and
Becky. But I guess that.
Oh yeah. By the way, they didn't know I had to fill them in, so you're welcome for actually knowing about that.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate that.
I'm the New World gamer, not wrestler.
There's reports as to whether or not they're going off script because of some of the NSFW language that was used in the actual tweets. So
who knows? Ronda going off script. Who's to say?
It doesn't really pan out well for her if we're being real.
Look, as a champion,
okay, I can understand.
I can't understand why she'd relinquish the title. I understand there's a lot of stress that comes with being the champion. My cortisol levels are through the roof. But yeah, I just couldn't imagine parting ways with Velvet here. with Violet. She's my baby. I'll never give her up. I don't care.
You said Velvet and I thought Velveteen Dream.
Velveteen Dream. Okay, I have an idea. This is a little bit off track, but fine, whatever. It's our podcast. You're not my dad. So I was like, what if, you remember how there was Goldberg, there was Gilberg? Like the one where they'd have sparklers instead of actual. Okay, well, it was like there is Goldberg, this big beefy dude, right? And then there'd be Gilbert, who's just the scrawny dude, and they'd use sparklers instead of the pyrotechnics and stuff. Funny. And so it's I have a character like that for Velveteen Dream. It's so I'd have the same entrance and stuff like that, but it'd be the Ovaltine Dream, and it'd just pour Yoo-hoo all over me, and it'd be the Ovaltine Dream. Still have the three.
That's your character. That's where you're going.
Yeah. You think that'd be good?
No.
Gabby didn't believe in me either. I was but just imagine I'm in all seriousness, and Velveteen Dream's kind of sexual and stuff like that. Yeah, I was I'm just oh yeah.
He's
with the milk.
Yeah, with the milk, yeah, dude.
Velveteen Dream is the prince of WWE if he had to be compared to anyone.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can justify that.
Imagine that, but with more chocolate drink.
Oh god.
I think it'd be good. I think it's $1 million. Ovaltine Dream.
Oh, we forgot about the biggest news this week was that Roman Reigns came back.
Yeah, Roman Reigns. He beat the hell out of
We're so glad you're back.
He's in remission. He left in October, back now, already in February, which is really great. He just pinned it for the 3 count,
Yeah.
We'll see if that bad boy comes back, but hopefully it doesn't.
Yeah.
And that transitions perfectly into the start of Raw.
Yes.
We got a lot of good feel-good moments. Probably most feel-good moment of 2019 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I would say in a while, but Dan O'Brien, when he came back, was pretty feel-good too.
Oh yeah.
So at least in a year.
At least in
the last year of WWE news.
Yeah, because this was real talk, real shit. Like he was in trouble.
Actually,
Yeah, it's not just I couldn't wrestle anymore. No, like he's fighting for his life.
Oh yeah, no, it was so crazy because whenever he did the announcement, I was in my night class, so I couldn't watch it, so I was kind of sad. So like I watched the video, and then I went back to watch whenever he had to relinquish the title, and I was like bittersweet because I was like, if he only knew he was coming back. But like I had to watch it again, like when he said he had to give it the title, so I could watch the other video again and be that much more appreciative. Like so excited.
Yeah.
So was the crowd already with him, or they just got to him because he beat cancer? Were they liking him already?
Well, by the time he did the first announcement, like people were like booing him and stuff. Like if you watch it, they're like, dude, like come on, because he says something to the effect of like, oh, I promised you I was going to be a fighting champion, and unfortunately, like I can't come through. Like he said something to that extent, and then he said he has cancer, and everyone was like,
oh shit.
Then I go, this is serious. Like,
so,
Dave, stop booing.
And so like he goes and like the scene, it's like so like poetic. Like he leaves the title in the ring, and he walks out, and it's Dean and Seth like going, and like they're like legitimately like crying like for him and stuff, and like he had tears and stuff, and so then like they raise him up, and then they walk out, and so whenever he comes back, like by the end of it, the crowd's already with him. So people like I think in that moment they realize like, damn, like we hated on this guy and he was actually pulling for us the whole time, like busting his ass like 5 days a week for us. And like after that, like people are so much more appreciative now, which I've been saying for a while. Please and thank you on that. But anyway, so now like everyone's basically like for him.
Yeah,
and
I heard the chants and all that. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
And then like Tuesday morning he did an interview with Good Morning America. It's just like a 5-minute interview with Robin Roberts. It's not like a super long one, but it's really cool because people are like really excited like for him and stuff, and he's talking about how he's like in the process of starting like his own like personal foundation for leukemia, and so how he's gonna get back to him on that later. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, definitely people were not behind him when he first, even like in his speech back in October, and then he said that, hey, my name's Joe and I've been fighting leukemia.
Like, oh shit,
like,
shit.
That's
this is real.
Yeah.
For real.
And then that got people like, oh, okay. Good. We hope the best.
It was out of like pity, but people were like, "Man, like we were hating on him for so long, and then he didn't deserve it."
Yeah, especially like, and after I watched like the 24 or whatever they did on WrestleMania last year, because I was like, "Oh, Roman Reigns is going," and then he's just like afterwards, like he's bleeding because Brock Lesnar really did make him bleed.
He busted him open, real bad,
and then he's just like. Yeah,
like a real bust.
And then he's just like telling the camera, he's like, "Yeah, I hope this proves that I'm willing to do anything, to entertain these people. Like I'm really doing anything to get them behind me."
Yeah, he got.
And I was like, "Dang, dude!" I was like, "I'm sorry."
Yeah, it's not my fault.
I didn't think of you. You were just you beat Undertaker. I didn't like it. Like, you can't beat him. I'm not a fan of you if you beat him. That's how it works.
On like a completely unrelated note, I think like what most people didn't see and like they kind of took it the wrong way was whenever him and John Cena were having that feud like a year and a half-ish ago, and they were having those promos, and like John Cena was like giving him like real shit like in the ring, and he straight up said something that I'll never forget, and he was like, "I'll be damned if I bust my ass like 5 days a week or something like that. Every single day just for you to go on the Today Show." And I was like, damn, like that hit hard because he's talking like real facts, like how he's busting his ass, and then there's people like John Cena who get to come in. But I mean, John Cena has had the experience for so long, he's been able to do that, so like it's okay. Like he's the exception for me, but like Roman Reigns, like it's true, like he does really bust his ass. Like that's why he said like, "I'll be damned if I bust my ass just for other people to reap the benefits."
Yeah, for sure. So. I'm gonna try and get to my
notes. Try to get these.
Okay. Good crowd, and Seth came. That was cool.
Yeah, that was so sweet.
I was wondering if Dean was gonna come also.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing, and I was just like, but he's babe.
But he can't come out. Yeah.
Well,
he's not supposed to come out.
Also, because like when we were talking earlier, like before the videos, like what I said, how like he was actually like kind of beside himself, like he was like really emotional over the news, and it just like he told them like that he wasn't gonna go, which is why whenever spoiler alert if you haven't seen Raw, whenever Dean's being attacked, like Roman and Seth go in at the end to like save him or whatever, like that decision was made after Dean like was like, nah, I'm not gonna go. So I thought that was like a really cool like last minute segment that they added. Like some people may have thought that it was like, oh, typical, like they cast it, but no, like they actually did that on the fly. So I was actually kind of glad they did that too.
I really like that part where it was like Dean getting beat up by everybody, and then he like told him last week, he's like, where were you out there? He's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
We're not friends right now. And he's just like, are you crazy? A little bit. And it's just like, I like that, because I was just like, yeah, like your friends, you guys get mad at each other, but then like, I can beat him up, you guys can beat him up. And so I enjoyed that. And then Roman came out too. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to be like in ring.
Yeah, I thought you were just like back, like you were gonna after
we'll
WrestleMania, come back.
See a couple fights here and there.
Yeah. And
but
then
this guy was ready.
He's like, you're beating up my
He came
friend.
ready.
But then I was like, what are you gonna do? Go help Dean. And then Gabby, when we were watching, she's like, baby steps. He's like, they can't help him yet.
Yeah.
Like they did help him, but they don't trust him yet. And I was just like, okay.
Jeez.
But he's still like hurt. Get the trainer out of there. But yeah, I'm not I don't know what they're gonna do with that big old schmoz of heels and stuff like that. Hello. Hi, it says hi guys. Hi,
Hello.
How are you doing?
Hello there.
How are y'all? We're doing lovely. How are you?
I probably look like kind of crazy because I have glasses and I can read, but I'm still leaning forward like, what are they saying?
Oh my
God.
Here
really
it comes.
can't see without
Just to pull it back down.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna leave
Was it worth it?
Yeah, kind of.
New here, love from India. Oh, what's up? Hey, that's so cool.
New World, we're international now. Woo, we just hit it. If you like wrestling, we're gonna thank you. Thank you for coming in. We're just talking some wrestling. Very, very appreciate the love. Yeah, so I don't know what they're gonna do with that schmoz of heels versus baby faces. I don't know if that's gonna be at Fastlane. I don't know what they're gonna do.
She said LOL with the laughing crying.
Thank you.
We appreciate the support.
We're happy to have you. But I think that it's gonna be like Shield and Finn Balor versus like all the bad guys.
Oh no, I'm not ready for that.
Like,
wait.
Or Shield and Braun Strowman, because Braun Strowman has beef with Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, other people.
That's true. I think what kind of is like confusing me right now is the fact that they have so many people that have like switched from heel to babyface and vice versa. And a lot of them have actually worked. Not all of them, but a good amount of them have worked so far. And I'm just like, why are you setting this up? We're like, how many weeks away from WrestleMania? And we still don't have a clear picture yet. But I don't know. My like ultimate angle, and I've said this before, is for Finn to reunite with AJ Styles and Anderson and Gallows, and they form the OG Bullet Club, and we have like a faction dispute, and that'd be so freaking awesome.
Too sweet, man.
Too sweet.
Yeah, that'd be great. Everyone wants to see the club.
They teased it like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
so
no.
mad.
I just wish they give. I just hope if they do end up doing like Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, and Bobby Lashley all in like a heel group together, they make it a real faction and give it a dope ass name, not Dogs of War.
That's
like,
their name right now.
Like, no, their name, it was like Drew, Dolph, and Braun Strowman, and they were the Dogs of War. But they only said it on one Raw, and they never said it again.
Yeah.
The team of Strowman, Ziggler, McIntyre. Like, I was just like, even then, you call them just like DOW. I was like, that's a way cooler name than
Dogs of War.
Yeah. It's just like, what could that be? Shut up.
Like,
don't worry about it.
to be honest, I feel like they're trying to copy the recipe that they did with the Shield, because you're like, oh, believe in the Shield, and
Hounds
they're
of
just
Justice.
Hounds of Justice. But those actually carried really well, and so it's like, if you already did it to one group, you can't apply the same formula. You gotta spin it and attack it from a different angle. Like the Nexus thing. Like Nexus was completely different, but yet it worked.
But still, same.
Different, but same.
Different, but same.
Yeah.
That's true.
But I would love an NXT invasion at some point, but Vince would ruin it. So after we got Roman Reigns, feel good moment, we talked about the big schmoz of the heels and whatnot. Elias always getting interrupted is fine.
Per usual.
That's what I love about him. He was gonna talk good about Atlanta for once, and then he's like, they can host a Super Bowl, but they can't win it.
Yeah.
I was like, I got him.
Somebody has to be your PS4 stream leader today.
Probably not. I'm probably gonna be drunk as hell.
Yeah.
So make for good quality
Content.
content. Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see, Sonic. Keep us posted. Say it. Remind us on Twitter. We appreciate you, Sonic. Good to see you. What were we talking about? Elias.
Elias, how he
gets
gets
interrupted.
interrupted.
Yeah. I don't know what they're gonna try and do with a feud or whatever.
She said, "I'm still here, but I have to go to bed now. It's 12:30. Oh, it's
hey,
late.
Good night.
Good night.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us. You can check out our other videos that are on the channel next time whenever it's like not super late.
Yeah.
So
Leave a like down below and subscribe.
we appreciate you so much.
So much love all to you. We're putting our love in an envelope and sending it to India. So I think Elias is really funny. He's definitely won me over because before I was like, oh, this guy.
Like, not again.
Yeah. And then as soon as he started talking smack in Green Bay, I was like,
I like him.
He's my new favorite. He's my new favorite.
This goes deeper than wrestling.
Yeah, this goes for sure. It was great. So we got Ricochet and Aleister Black versus the Revival. Some people would. Good night.
Sonic said it's 7 over here in England. To
no
our
way.
other friend, bye. We'll see you later. And then Sonic.
Yeah, I didn't know you were from England, dude. That's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
More international.
Yeah, look, more international.
Wrestling is a universal language.
I don't understand the words you are saying, but I do understand a good suplex. But
a German suplex. Let's be clear.
So I just feel when I saw this match, it's like someone has to lose, and I don't want it to be the NXT call-ups because it's like, why are you gonna have them lose already? They just came up and it's out of focus, but come back.
Come back.
Yeah,
Baby,
thank
come
you.
back.
Thank you. We're back. We're a little hazy, but yeah. So I was like, someone had to lose this match, and at the end of the day, NXT call-ups they needed this more than the Revival.
Sonic said he's not from England, but he's on vacation.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
well,
that's even cooler.
yeah,
though.
that's awesome. You got to go across the pond. Yeah, that's cool. They have a big clock there.
Wow.
Whoa. Couldn't see that in America.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
Back to
it's
the
good.
Revival.
We're good. So, like, at the end of the day, the NXT call-ups need to win,
Mm-hmm.
and they can't lose. It's way too early. And guess after the match, the Rivals still are tag team champions.
Yeah.
So I was like, I wish they would have been able to go a little longer, but I think it was fine what we got because Ricochet and Aleister Black, and
Oh, God, they're
the
freaking
Revival,
awesome.
they just put on shows. They
It's
just,
an amazing thing. Yeah.
Like, if you were to look at Ricochet, like, just when he debuted, you already knew he was going to be special. That's when the Dream cut that promo against him in NXT after one of his matches. And he just goes and freaking punch fronts over the top rope onto the bottom of the ramp. And he's like, oh, well, now you know me, like, or something to that effect. So, like, you already knew he was going to be special. You watch his NXT matches, they're great. Like, you're not supposed to expect anything less of him, and he, like, completely delivers. And Aleister Black, too, he's one of those, like, wild cards where you don't know what's going to happen with him. Like, literally, if I would have, like, seen him from, like, the beginning, I would have been like, are you, like, another, like, Braun Strowman type person?
I said, oh, what are you guys talking about? Who's this Ricochet guy? We're talking about wrestling. So Ricochet is this guy. You should definitely, if you don't know who he is, you should definitely like look up Ricochet highlights.
Just YouTube him. He's freaking amazing.
Like, it's like Neville was the man that Gravity forgot, but Gravity never even knew Ricochet.
Yeah. You know, he's like next level, like top tier for sure.
Yeah, he's awesome.
You can see why they put him on the main roster.
Yeah.
He's only been there for 2 weeks and look at his impact. I mean, come on.
Yeah, definitely. He's like a real life superhero.
Is he your dad?
Is he dad? I wish.
I didn't want to make this heartfelt. Like I didn't want to. Ricochet, you're my dad. Yeah, that's why. I mean, he's also going to be a champ one day too, just like me. You know, it doesn't happen where the kid gets it first, but yeah, good.
Yeah,
good.
Well, just the Aleister Black, I like his entrance. He has one of the best entrances.
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, the first time I saw it, I was like, what's going on? Like, where's this guy at? And then just like rises up
rises
from a fucking.
I absolve you of your sins. Black mass, fade to black. By the way, Suck It Brawlhalla, thank you.
I needed that right now.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, correct.
Ricochet and Aleister Black.
Ricochet, my dad is great at Brawlhalla, so.
Ricochet, my dad.
Yeah, my dad. Ricochet, my father, Ricochet. I'm going to say that. It's like my favorite team, the Spurs.
My father, the Ricochet.
Yeah, my father, Ricochet. I really want Aleister Black to fight Undertaker at Mania. And then
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I would like it for them to do it a little longer, but like a longer build and stuff like that. But I think they could still do it like after Fastlane and have Undertaker lose and retire, and pass the torch and be like, hey, you absolve the rest of their sins now. You're the dead man now.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah,
but
I think it'd
one
be
can only hope.
Yeah, I don't even know. They said they don't have anything planned for Undertaker right now.
Well, apparently he's supposed to make like an AEW
They always have something.
appearance
when
it's his first like non-WWE appearance in like years.
He's making an AEW appearance?
Yeah.
What?
Like it's like a signing, right? He's gonna go and like sign stuff.
I don't know what he's doing exactly. I saw the headline and I didn't want to read too much into it because I'm still kind of like, this is a little too vague, the AEW situation. Like I know they're signing cool people and everything, but I'm just like,
you're waiting for it to see if it establishes itself?
I'm waiting to see if it's actually going to be worth it. Like other people like who I've talked to on Twitter and stuff, they're like, oh no, this is so cool because they signed Kenny Omega, they have Chris Jericho, like they're getting like a bunch of people from New Japan that you would have thought would have come over. Like, so I'm just like,
Sonic said there's a massive spider behind me. You made me look. I was just like, wait, what? But I think it's just for like a signing at like one of their events. I don't think.
Oh, not like in the ring.
No.
Oh, okay.
But Undertaker is very happy with the WWE. Like he doesn't do anything. He's like a superstar. He doesn't do anything he doesn't want to do. So
I think he's like on one of the Legends contracts where they like make appearance. Don't quote me on that, but like I think because like Kevin Nash, whenever he used to come out, and like Hulk Hogan before all that stuff about him being racist came out, like those were people who were on Legends contracts where like they would they were contractually obligated to do like certain appearances and then they could come back every so often and stuff. Like that's why whenever Sting and Triple H fought a couple years ago at WrestleMania in the Bay Area, San Francisco, it was 31 because 32 is in Dallas. At WrestleMania 31, like they came out the NWO. Let's not talk about it.
I'm gonna tell my professor I'm on a Legends contract. I can only come for certain events. Sorry, I really wish I could, but it was a breach.
It's in the contract.
It just says I can do what I want. Baron Corbin is still a prick.
That interview was crazy.
It's
I was like, what is
so weird?
Like,
I really don't know what they're doing with him.
Yeah, but that whole thing is like, I don't know, I just like, you're pushing it like a little bit too far.
Yeah.
And I was like,
he's like, he just shouldn't have came back.
Yeah,
shut up. You fucking suck.
I guess you want to be like, they want to make him, like, everyone hate him, but you can do it a little bit.
They always do cheap heat, I feel like. We talked about this. There's always cheap heat every time there's an actual real world problem happening, like somebody dying or somebody being
They
sick.
use that for the benefit.
I'm just like, stop.
Yeah, we were talking about it because I think it was Rhonda and Natalia, had a match against Ruby Riott, I think, and somebody else from the Riott Squad. Like, it was only 2 of the 3 girls. I just don't remember which ones. But like how earlier, like maybe like 4 months ago or something, Ruby had like a feud with Natty, and it was like Ruby cutting promos about like her dad who had just passed away, like Jim the Anvil Neidhart, may he rest in peace. And basically like they're just using that the whole time, and so like their final match was like a tables match at TLC, and like she actually like wrestled like with his jacket, which I thought was cool, but then I was like, that thing is so big, like how can you like wrestle properly? Like I would have been struggling, like, oh, how to get a clothesline, oh, here we go. But
yeah, I felt that. It was like maybe a little too much, especially for someone who worked in the company and stuff like that. But I mean, maybe she obviously like Natty would have had to okay it.
Yeah.
Oh man, the worst one though was whenever Charlotte had come up and she won the Divas title from Nikki, and they had her and Paige feuding, and they had Paige cut a promo about Ric Flair's son, which was Charlotte's brother, not her other half brothers or whatever, but her actual like full-blooded brother, Reed, who he passed away from an accidental overdose. And like the line that Paige says, she was like, "Oh, but your brother, well, he didn't have much fight and he did heat." And then she goes, I know, she jumps over the table and starts like hitting her and stuff. But I was like, man, like that's not even like cool. Like you should just like not touch that, you know. And it's still like a super sensitive topic, like for her and like for like anybody.
For anybody,
you know.
We got Lacey Evans walking down the ramp and
walking
around. I just put do anything.
Yeah.
Just do literally anything. Have a match if you want. You did good in the Royal Rumble. I
Stop
thought.
Walking.
This is WWE. We have matches sometimes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes there's matches. Yeah. So I'm just like, you got it. do the thing. I want her to like maybe get involved with one of those tag team groups, like get her in like with Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. I think that'd be cool to replace like Paige and Absolution. Don't forget, you listen to Snowball. Don't forget to drop a like, guys. Thank you. I didn't forget. Thank you for reminding me. But I was like, just throw her in with somebody else, and I think that'd be like a cool reveal. Like, and then maybe I'm just a fan of factions. Maybe
Faction.
You're a faction. You're a faction. Everyone get together. It's the only way.
I mean, I did like her with those two big guys when they would walk down the thing also.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, heavy machinery, dude.
With them.
Speaking of wrestlers that don't wrestle, they're really good at just not doing anything. Like I can just listen to Otis do anything. Like their backstage segments with the New Day, I thought were really funny on SmackDown. He's like, oh yeah, we need more protein. Oh yeah, it's good. And Becky Lynch takes a swig of it. It was great. That was awesome, dude. It was the best. I love Otis so much. Otis is my spirit animal. He's great. And I'm just saying, Lacey Evans do literally anything.
Yeah, no, I think we were talking about it earlier, how like the rumors that they want to make like her like the Ronda Rousey of SmackDown, which I mean, fine, whatever, like as long as it's showcasing women's wrestling, but don't do like cheap bits like that. Like that's how you that's how people get stuck in mid card, is when you start them off like that. Like you can't that's just no go for me. Like I hate that, and you guys can probably attest to it. Whenever Nia Jax was coming up, literally they were having her compete against the local competitor, whoever it was, and I'm just like,
get Steve from accounting, throw him out there.
If you want to build someone up, put them against someone credible. Like whenever we went to the Raw that Kevin Owens won the Universal title when they had the Fatal 4, like she fought
pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, I was in Houston, and she fought against some no-name person, and I'm just like,
okay, good.
Oh, okay,
Sorry, he's got pulled away.
But anyway, so like Nia fought against like some like no-name person at that Raw, and like they had her doing that for like months, and like Braun Strowman, they did the same thing for him for like almost 6 months of just him fighting no-name people. I mean, he's lucky that he's gone over with the crowd so well. Like I'm not trying to like knock him or anything, but that's like one of the rare occasions that it's worked. Like Nia, it freaking took forever for her to like pop on the main roster. The moment where like she popped for me was whenever they had the first like Survivor Series like brand split, like Team Raw versus Team SmackDown for the women's, and the Raw women came to invade SmackDown, and that's when Becky Lynch was champion and having her feud with Alexa Bliss, and like Nikki was wrestling there. Like they had just come off the 6-pack challenge a couple weeks ago for the title. And so, like, Nia goes and she's, like, trying to, like, go for one of the girls. I think she's trying to go for Becky, and Nikki pulls her at the last second, and she freaking, like, rams the barricade like a... Oh, I don't even know how to describe it, but it was so crazy because David Otunga was on the commentary team, and he was like, oh, my God! And that's what made it pop for me so much more. That, to me, I was like... Okay, she legit. Like, not that other stuff. You put her in and you see her break a barrier. Okay, I'm impressed. Like, you need to do stuff like that. Put her against credible people. Like, that I'm okay with. I'm not going to talk about that anymore.
No. I think people do get stuck in the mid card like that. Like the EC3 stuff where he's just, like, flexing in a mirror and stuff. He has 2 matches on actual Raw and that's it. Like... What are they doing?
Yeah.
I think that they don't know how to properly bring someone up unless it's like a Kevin Owens. It's just come in, kick ass, take names, shit like that.
One of the like few that actually sticks out with me, like on their first name where they made an impact and you stuck with him from NXT, was Finn Balor, which if y'all don't know, he's my favorite.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
So whenever he came on the scene, like they hadn't like put him to wrestle yet. I think it may have been like his like 2nd or 3rd Raw or something when this happened. But what they ended up doing was they're like, okay, we're creating a new championship. It's a universal title. And Seth is already going to be in it. That's when he was still part of the Authority. So they're like, okay, we're going to have a gauntlet match or whatever to determine who's going to be the winner. And so they go through it, and Finn is named one of them. And he ends up beating Roman Reigns to take the spot. And he fought, 2 matches that day? He fought someone else to win because Roman had beat someone else. I forget how it went, but basically, like, the gauntlet one is the one where you pin someone and then they send in someone else and you just keep going. Yeah. Okay, so they did that, and like Finn had one match and like he won or whatever, and then he came back and fought Roman Reigns, and he ended up winning, and that's how he got to SummerSlam. And like to me, it was like 2 matches in one night against like 2 like big like time people. I forget who it was that he fought, but it was like a main roster guy. Like to do that, like that's how you pop. That's how you make an impact.
For sure. I did like Elias and Dean Ambrose. I thought they were funny together.
They are funny together, actually.
I think Dean is definitely. I mean, I think he can make a good heel, but I just think like he should still be allowed to be a little bit of himself because he's a really funny guy, and I don't know. I like whenever he talks. He's like EC3. Where's EC1 and 2?
Yeah.
Like I thought it was really funny.
Do you remember when Dean was making fun of Jericho and he had? I think it was when he had a title, but at that point he was doing his own show and it was called the Ambrose Asylum and he had the little plant and he's like, "That's it." And or it was with the Miz that he was having like a quarrel with, I think at the time. And the Miz is like, "That's it," and he's like, "Yeah, well, I got my plan, I got my sign. Like, what else do I need?" And like those were funny bits and like really good like just casual Dean being himself moments, and that's kind of what you need more of that.
For sure. So we talked about them like getting on with the heels and stuff like that. So what else happened? The Riot. I was gonna say the Ronda Squad. The Ronda Squad versus the Riot Squad. And all I put down is that WWE doesn't care, so I don't care. Like I just like they've fought. Can we get other heels maybe?
Yeah.
Like we get it. Like the Riot Squad, they never win. They've never been allowed to win.
Yeah.
And I'm just so over it. They're just only there to like push other storylines or whatever.
Yeah.
And I felt like you could if you were trying to like push them or make them seem like a real threat, you could have like put the titles on them, but you didn't. So you're telling me that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, like, to be honest, like, I don't mind them. Like, they're not my favorite wrestlers, but at the same time, it's like, if you're gonna, put someone there that's just gonna continually get a casual beatdown, like, what does that do for them to develop them? Like, that's why people like that get stuck in mid-card, and that's why people, like, don't pop for them, like, the crowd especially, like, they won't pop for them as much as, like, say, like, a Sasha and Bailey, like, tag team. Like, everyone pops for them all the time because they've been like one of the few like superstar like groups that actually like it doesn't matter whether they have titles on them or not, like the crowd is still always going to go for them. I mean, it was kind of shaky there for a minute with Bailey after she lost the championship to Alexa, and like she didn't have a feud with her. They were trying to do some random stuff with Sasha about putting them together, which was totally like it was unnecessary and complete waste of time. But like Bailey almost suffered because of that, and like now she's been able to bounce back, and Sasha too. So it's like whenever you put when you put the Riot Squad in particular, like to get like the casual beatdown all the time, it's like how do you expect for them to actually like be popular with the fans and be considered like a reasonable threat,
Yeah, and then we were talking about how WWE doesn't care about this, and it shows because then this is where Becky Lynch returned and beat Ronda with a crutch and got arrested by the police. I hate that. I hate like how when they pretend like the police get involved and stuff like that. I always hate those storylines. I remember back in the day, it was like JBL called the police on John Cena. I was like, you're a wrestler, like you're supposed to fight. Like I understand it's like this just I understand kayfabe and all that stuff. And I'm just like, I don't care. This is dumb. I know they didn't go to jail. Like
no, I remember they did one. The more recent one that pops in my mind is like whenever Brie Bella and Stephanie McMahon had a feud a couple years ago, and so like that's when like she had like quit like so that way Daniel could keep his championship while he was still dealing with his neck injury. And so like she goes to see Nikki and like Nikki gets beat up or whatever, and she's like, oh, I have a ticket or whatever, and so then like Stephanie McMahon slaps her and she tries to go like after her. Security takes her back, and then she comes back and they arrest Stephanie, but like the crowd it was actually like liking that. I think just because it was with an authoritative figure, so I think like there's certain exceptions, but whenever stuff like that happens, it's like, yeah, we know this is part of the storyline, like you have to make it believable. Like Stephanie being arrested, like that made it believable, whether the feud was good or not. That's like beside the point. It was good at the time, and it helped advance the women's evolution in the long run. But
speaking of Stephanie, we got her and Ronda again.
Oh yeah.
I think they're fine together. Just like there's some, I don't know. I guess Steph does a good job of being a heel in that, and like always against Ronda. But her and Triple H, they both like flip flop heel and babyface depending on which day they go out. Yeah. And it's really inconsistent. But Ronda, the takeaway is Ronda relinquished her title apparently. So now we got to see what happens on this Raw. Like, I wonder how they're gonna do that because I see maybe do they just give it to Charlotte Flair and then she fights Ronda and Becky at WrestleMania as the champion? I don't know what's going to happen, but I guess it's good long-term storytelling. So well, we're going to find out what happens. I'm not a big fan of relinquishing a title just because I don't like what you're doing. I don't want to fight Becky Lynch.
Yeah, no, I think like the way they could have handled that was her saying that she would have taken the title hostage until they gave her what he wanted, kind of like what CM Punk did a couple years ago, saying that he was leaving the company.
Yeah.
Like, that was actually good storytelling. Like, you giving up the title, that's you saying, like, oh, well, you know, it's not that important. I just want to fight her. It's like, okay, but the whole point is you're trying to make the championship legitimate.
Yeah.
Like, I understand you're trying to say it's more than just the championship. Like, I agree 100%. Sometimes there are matches where it's more than just the championship. But if you're trying to convey that, like, I don't know, like, to me, for someone like Ronda to give it up, like, it doesn't seem like a smart move. Like, if you want the feud to mean something, you give the championship meaning, and it's like, we're fighting tooth and nail, like, we're literally, like, down to the wire because we want to be your champion. Like, that's the whole, at least from my perspective, that's what they're trying to sell. So, like, you saying, like, the championship doesn't matter, like, that kind of, it's detrimental to the story.
Contradicts, like, why are you guys fighting?
Exactly.
Why are you main eventing if it's not even for, like, the title?
Exactly. And, like, I completely understand, like, going back to the point of how sometimes it's more than just the title, but that's why you have non-title matches, to say, like, it goes beyond championships, it's about being the best. Like, we talked about it earlier, about a couple weeks ago, Adam Cole and Ricochet had a match together on MVP, and the way they built it was two former NXT American champions are clashing with one another, and how it was, like, such, like, a heavyweight bout. It's like, that's when you can say it's more than titles, like with those kind of matches. I just think in this one, it's kind of detrimental for her to do that. So, especially
Royal Rumble winner, stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And also with that, like, that makes it seem like there's no way that Becky is not gonna, like, she earned it at WrestleMania. Don't end it whatever you want, Vince, whatever. Anyways. Talk about Vince replacing baby faces a little later. We got Jinder versus Kurt Angle. I don't think we need to spend that much time on it. Kurt Angle wins. He's desperate. He had this really good storyline in TNA where he's like, all right, I'm gonna fight like the like number 15th contender for the title all the way to the champion. If I lose any of those, I'm gonna quit. Like, I'm gonna like. So it made every match like, oh, is it gonna happen? Like, are you gonna quit? And so it made it like a good series of matches. I think they should recycle that storyline for him now. Because how many people remember that? Like, who watched TNA?
Or like even to the effect of like an open challenge. Like you saw like when John Cena a couple years ago did the open challenge for the US title, people were getting excited about that. You had good quality matches like the Sami Zayn match, the Cesaro match, like those were the ones that like always stood out to people. And they're like, man, this is for the US title and yet this is such good quality. Like not to add any like salt to the fact that like the US title is like not the bigger one, but it was showing like, man, you can make any championship like worth it. So like if you can like make any match worth it with him, why not do something to that effect? And then there's another US Open challenge on SmackDown. Oh yeah. We got the moment of bliss. Show me your abs and I'll show you my blank. That's what Alexa Bliss said. She was interrupted, of course, by Leo Rush. And everyone's like, oh, come on. Oh, what was she going to... Shut up. I don't know. I don't feel like WWE doesn't need to do this stuff, but it still made me laugh because I do like those two people. I like Alexa Bliss and I like Finn Balor, so I was still like an idiot and I still laughed. So whatever. It's funny, but it's one of those where you're just like, man, like at least for me, I'm like, I wish Alexa was wrestling. Like, there's a reason why she's considered one of the best heels in the company, not just in the women, but one of the best heels in general. She has awesome mic skills. Like her wrestling, she's been improving on it so much as if, you know, because she has her critics about like, oh, your wrestling's good, but it's not great, which I think so. Yeah. I mean, she freaking did the Twisted Bliss off the top of a chamber last year at Elimination Chamber. Like, if that doesn't prove anything enough, but, you know. You're a lost cause. Yeah. But surprisingly, the Finn match with Leo Rush is still good. Really good, Leo, he's a good wrestler for sure. I'm just not a fan of his character. And I don't know, it's kind of weird. It just feels like an abusive relationship between him and Bobby. Yes. Seems like a domestic, like, disturbance. And speaking of Bobby Lashley, Balor versus Rush, good match. Don't care about the story. Ascension and Heavy Machinery, they had a backstage segment.
That's fine as long as Heavy Machinery wins because they're the new kids. Like I'm saying, like they have the new kids win, or else it just doesn't really make a ton of sense. And then we got Strowman versus Lashley, and it was not a match. They stopped because I think Braun Strowman just beat him up and he left. That was it.
There's so much more storytelling that they could do.
Yeah.
With two guys like that.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna move it real quick. I don't know if Justin's coming back in or not. But it's just bothering me. When he comes back in, I'll change it back. And it was just like we just have this empty chair here. Yep. I just want to put us in the middle. So then we got that big old schmoz of good guys. Oh my god!
Right as you moved the camera.
I just moved the camera because I was like, oh, this is bothering me. Now you gotta move it back. Just a little. No, not like that. Never mind. Sit down. Just sit down.
And I'm back, baby.
I'm afraid that
the show is back. All right.
I feel like I'm just gonna drop it.
I know it. I know it logged a little while I was gone. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yes, he's back. Oh, that's what we have done. So we already talked about like all the bad guys beating up Dean Ambrose. And
okay.
Felt good to see the Shield kind
come
of
back a little bit.
Like, hey, but you still gave me dirty deeds when he had kids.
You got some splaining to do.
Then we got Nia versus Bailey. I didn't even get that on my version, so
I didn't really watch it.
It was kind of a filler match, to be honest. It wasn't that bad, but I mean, Bailey ended up picking the win from the match, picking up the win. Sorry,
she picked the win. I feel like I'm feeling really good.
Like, of course, it's her and Sasha. Like, it's basically like a way for them to like show off their titles and show like, hey, we're still gonna be like active on the roster. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah. So again, it was more of a filler match. It wasn't bad, but like it wasn't like exciting. It was just like, okay, yeah, like this is entertaining. Which I mean, that's kind of what you want out of a filler match. You don't want it to be like, oh, I know like this is filler. Yeah. So overall, it wasn't that bad. It was just to kind of advance the story of like, hey, you know, we're champions, but we're still going to be fighting no matter what. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So I think, I'm not sure 100%, but I think they're trying to set up like Nia Jax and Tamina versus them for the titles. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I think they are. I thought that was going to be the Fastlane match, or whatever. Nia and Tamina versus Bailey and Sasha. Yeah. And I heard Tamina speak last week. I was like, what? I haven't seen you talk since you were with the Usos and shit. Yeah.
When she was AJ Lee's body. Well, even then, she really didn't talk that much. So.
She's just a muscle.
Yeah. What's up? AJ, I got you back.
It was funny because Big E was her muscle at first, and then it ended up being Tamina. I forgot how that happened, but
Big E. Oh, I love him. I was like, he's the first man I ever loved. I was like, nah, that was Tony Romo.
That's Tony Romo.
He taught me I could love another man. Then we get to our main event, the big celebration. And we got a big celebration vibe this whole time. We got a lot of baby faces coming on top of heels. And so they set you up to be like, yeah, dude, now we're going to celebrate. Yeah, and everybody's in people clothes. Look, they're not just wrestlers, they're real people. I saw Braun Strowman smile. I was like, whoa, look at him go. And they're like, we're not just going to have a party just with these guys, these crappy new guys. We're going to have some old guys. We got
HBK.
Yeah, we got Ricky the Dragon, the Steamboat. We got
that was awesome.
Sting. Everybody's here. We're going to have a good time. Only thing, he didn't invite his daughter to his birthday party. Not important. Charlotte wasn't invited.
That's what everyone was talking about.
Charlotte wasn't invited. No, I can't party with my freaking daughter. I'm trying to get lit. And then they're like, come on out. And it's when we were watching, Gabby's like, someone's going through that cake, and it's going to be a waste. someone's going through.
Someone worked hard on that.
Yeah, you know how much that glitter frosting is? It's a lot. And then I was like, nah, no one's going through the cake. Come on. And everyone, I don't know about you guys, but I was expecting like, oh, Becky Lynch is coming back, and she's going to put Ric Flair in an armbar until Charlotte agrees, or until the McMahons agree that she's going to be back for the match at WrestleMania. And oh boy, do we not get
wrong. Yeah.
We got something even better.
Yes.
Let's be real.
I think it was one of the most unpredictable endings to Raw in a very long time. I thought it felt like kind of crazy. I was just like, who's dragging this cameraman?
Oh yeah.
I really wish they would have done like the face reveal better because he was just kind of like dragging it. As soon as we saw him, I was like, dude, that's Batista.
Yeah.
That's Batista. And then I thought that was really cool. I thought that was a good way to do it because evolution ties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because
that's what I was thinking too.
And they teased it back then too. Like what was it? Like a couple months ago, like they had a reunion on like SmackDown or something.
Yeah, the SmackDown 1000.
Yeah. Thank you.
That was awesome. Yeah, he's like, they definitely teased it there because they're like, oh man, evolution. He's like, we accomplished so much. He's like, and look at my friend Hunter. He's done so much. He's done a bunch of stuff in this business, but he's never beaten me.
Oh
And
yeah.
then they all like go and they're like. And Randy's like laughing behind.
He's
him.
like laughing, but then he's
like,
like, I'm not supposed to be laughing. But
yeah, it's like, oh, I was coughing. Yeah, I got something in my throat. But yeah, and then he drags the cameraman because he wants the cameraman to see him, and then he closes the door. Why'd you drag the cameraman?
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, we know it's because Ric Flair can't take a beating like that,
Yeah.
realistically.
Because he's 70 years old.
Yeah.
Literally.
Literally 70 years old. So yeah, he's like, hey Rick, I'm gonna drag you out.
Yeah,
it's gonna be so good to see you.
I think he dislocated his hip on that pool.
Oh, don't say that.
Yeah, he's just like, Dave, good to see you. All right, go ahead.
There's some shit around. Let's go.
Yeah, and then he's like, hey Hunter, do you have your attention now?
Oh, that was like the perfect thing.
Yeah, they
to
should have ended
say.
it like that because then when he screamed, I was like, all right. It was,
weird.
It was a little cringy, but it was fun. It was still Dave Batista. All he needs to do is take out that nose ring.
Nose ring, yeah, that was weird.
It's hard to look like
that?
a badass with the nose ring.
Shoot, I mean, the
You know he's
badass
gonna be
level was
like
like at a
that.
10 now because
Yeah,
of that ring.
you look as badass as Dennis. Shots fired. Dennis, you suck. And then I literally put that in my notes. Lose his nose ring. I didn't put better than Dennis. Or
He's gonna fight with it. That's how he's gonna. That's his new character.
Oh,
He'll definitely be a heel.
Yeah.
I tell Justin all the time, I hate when like people who like wrestle with their piercings.
Yeah, he always thinks
Like
he's gonna like.
Alexa Bliss
rip it
always
off.
wrestles with her belly ring. Like some of the other superstars, like Peyton Royce and I think Liv Morgan.
Yeah.
I'm just like
Yeah.
cringe because I'm like,
I would
literally
never
one
wrestle.
wrong move, your skin can like tear
Yeah,
out.
for real. And like when freaking Jeff Hardy messed with his
Oh,
gate.
his
Oh,
face
yeah,
just-
When Randy messed with his gate.
That
was nasty, dude.
I
But so-
couldn't
so-
even watch it. I had to tell Justin, like, tell me what's happening. I can't look.
So is Triple H supposed to be the good guy now? Has he
Yeah.
been the good guy for a while, or he just turned?
every other week
He switches back.
Yeah.
Let's be fair.
Sometimes on
It's like
SmackDown.
every like 2 weeks.
No, it's like literally he showed up on Raw. He was like, Seth, you did it. You're great. So I showed up on SmackDown. Becky. Becky.
That was badass.
Yeah, I don't understand what he is. Whatever. It doesn't
He's Triple
matter.
H.
He's
He's
Triple
Triple
H.
H.
Triple H
That's it.
doesn't conform to anybody's babyface, heel, anything. He's a baby heel for sure.
Maybe.
But yeah, Batista. The last time he came back in 2014, he wanted to be a heel.
Yeah, but they didn't want him to be. Yeah, I saw
I
that.
was like, no. You're gonna fight for the title at WrestleMania. Everyone's gonna love you.
Maybe.
He's like, everybody loves Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, I was like,
They
what
want
do you
him. Let me be the heel. And he's like, no.
I'm Vince McMahon.
Yeah, I'm Vince McMahon. You can say that one more time, you're fired.
I think the only good thing we got out of like that, like I'm sorry, it's like a failed comeback to me because they didn't meet his demands and that's why he left. The only good thing that came out of that was Seth turning heel because I didn't expect that at all, and I was like, to me, like at that point in time, I was like, he's not the strongest one.
Yeah. He was the only one I was like worried about, like
Yeah.
not doing well when they all split.
And then he ended
And
up
he's,
like
like, the
doing
best one.
the
Yeah.
the best out of everyone. So that was the only like good thing that came out of it. And I like the character he is now. Like I'm glad they went through like the character development with him of like him questioning like his like sense of self of like being a heel and like turning babyface and like conquering Triple H, like all that stuff. Like I appreciated that.
And when that happened, like I think it was good. You could like that's another notch for Shield's belt. They beat Evolution.
Yeah.
But Evolution didn't have Ric Flair.
But that was like one of the best matches of the year. It was at Battleground that they had it, right?
I hated it because I wanted an Evolution to win. Like, I used to be such a mark. Yeah, I used to be such a mark when I'd watch stuff, and like so whenever people would like, I hated the Shield for the longest time because I'm just like, because they're bad guys. They're the bad guys.
Yeah.
Stop interfering in these title matches. I just want CM Punk to lose. No, like so I was definitely one of those who was like, no, Shield's bad.
I don't like them. I don't care what
like
they
the
say.
Shield. Go Evolution. I like them. They're going to win. And then they ended up losing. And Batista left. I was like, Batista, no.
How good.
I guess I have to watch one of my 3 Guardians of the Galaxy DVDs. To watch you wrestle Becca's. Aliens.
In the galaxy.
Aliens.
Yeah.
In the galaxy.
So, great ending to Raw. So, I think it's time to talk about SmackDown. SmackDown Live.
I missed like the first half of it. I don't even know what's going on. I saw that.
Well, I'm pretty sure they told you a billion times what happened.
The signing?
Yeah.
That was how it started off?
Yeah, that's how it started.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. It's like coming in all hyped up and ready.
Yeah,
they're like, Kofi, we're getting it.
And then it's just like when someone unqualified gets the promotion. So we got Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston signing the
contract.
Yeah, the contract. I was like, what is it called? My legend contract for Fastlane to fight for the WWE Championship. And then Kofi must not watch wrestling ever because just sign it, dude. Just sign it.
Real quick. Well, don't take your time. Yeah.
Don't even worry about it. And then Vince McMahon does this new shtick where he's like, oh, you're really good, but I like somebody else, so we're going to put them instead. You're right.
But that part was pretty crazy. Like, do you feel like it hindered Kevin Owens' return, kind of?
I don't think it hindered it, but it's one of those where it's like, was he going to be a heel or babyface? Because when he left, he was a heel, and it's like people were cheering for him because he was back, but then they're like, but we also want Kofi.
Yeah,
it's like a literal, like, it's 2 sides of the same coin, and you're like, which one? I don't know.
I think
like a bowl.
I think we have to see how the rest of the story plays out.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely interesting seeing that he doesn't come back as full heel. And also that he headbutted Vince McMahon and he fought Shane in a Hell in a Cell. Not important, I guess. But
I know.
So why would so I thought that if Shane would have said something like while they were talking to him in the back, be like, Dad, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't like him.
He threw me off the cage.
Yeah, I jumped off the cage. It was like, well, first off, son, you need to stop jumping off. I already told you. Stop picking fights with these actual wrestlers. I say that, but he's actually
a good wrestler.
Yeah, I just like to give him shit. But yeah, I thought it was a good thing. I thought it was pretty cool. I think, to me, this means, Kofi's winning it at Mania. Or, he's definitely
getting a match.
Or he's at least getting the match at Mania. I think is
good too, rather than just throw him in there fast and
and then have him like have a good match like we all know he can do, and then just have him lose because we know Daniel Bryan needs to be champ at Mania.
Yeah. So
I don't think Kevin Owens will win. I wouldn't mind it because I think that'd be really cool. I think it'd be his first time ever being WWE champion because he had the Universal champion. I don't think he's ever had the.
He's the one that lost it to Goldberg, and that's how Goldberg got the championship.
Yeah. And remember, man, I just wanted that to be a match so bad. I love Goldberg. Like anytime Goldberg stepped in the ring on his comeback, it just went crazy.
I'm the cut.
Yes, we know, Gump.
I'm not gonna.
You almost got it. I'm not
gonna read that.
You're a slick guy. I told you she didn't use a contraceptive. Okay, then we got the Bar versus the Hardy Boys. The Hardy Boys are back. Or
Matt Hardy came back.
Delete.
Careful, you don't want it to look like
it's horizontal. It's horizontal. It's different. It's delete. It's not. No, I'm not gonna. It's not Hydra.
No. Let's not really.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, come on, dude.
But yeah,
my father was killed by a Hydra. You want to talk about them bloody kangaroo? Oh, dude, come, shut up. Shut up. We're talking wrestling.
It's wrestling.
We're talking wrestling.
But yeah, I didn't even know Matt Hardy was gone for a while. And then he had retired. Was that right?
Or he said
he basically said like that was the end of the line for him. He didn't use that phrasing, by the way, but like that was it, and that he was just gonna be like kind of like backstage personnel from like that point on. So that's why they started going like head first with a singles run for Jeff Hardy.
Oh, that's fine. And I hope they don't see that on the thing and just be like, oh, you have to be. I should have switched it to the Wi-Fi. That's on me. I can wrestle. You just give me a Speedo and a gallon of scented baby oil. I would pay to see that. I would pay to see you wrestle.
Snowball had said what about Jeff?
What about Jeff? He was there.
I didn't really watch the fight.
Oh, no.
It was a tag team battle.
Yeah, it was cool as hell. And the bar ended up taking the loss, which I think they had to.
Yeah.
I was just like, the Hardy Boys are back, dude. Like,
yeah.
Like, I love the Bar. I think they're underrated.
They are so underrated.
I was like, you guys have good title runs. You guys have won the SmackDown and the Raw titles.
And they had WrestleMania moments together, too.
I was like, you
know?
got beat by Nicholas last year. The 12-year-old kid.
Oh, yeah,
that was pretty dope, dude.
Oh, Snowball said awesome.
Yeah, dude, it was a good match, and Matt Hardy looks like he's in great shape. They said he was gonna retire because his pelvis fused with his
spine.
He had like a hip procedure done way before, and that's
like
what they were talking
That's
about.
so crazy. How does that even
I
happen?
don't know. And I was just like, well, you probably shouldn't wrestle
anymore. Yeah.
And then he came back, dude, and he looks good. He's not broken.
He's like, never mind.
Or he's not, sorry, Woken Matt Hardy. So that's fine. Because I'd love to see them do it again. I'm still waiting for Bray Wyatt to come back.
I'm wondering what's going on with that. Like, there's almost like no insight as to what's been going on with him.
Yeah, and I would love it. What if he, like, because I don't know, we've kind of been predicting that, which one? Harper? Yeah, Harper.
Yeah.
The other one.
Luke Harper.
I was hoping that he would come back like in the Elimination Chamber, come up from the bottom or whatever, and help. It was like, what if Bray Wyatt came and like became a disciple of Daniel Bryan?
No, it was so crazy because
really cool.
like when Eric Rowan first came out, like I really thought like, oh, maybe they're gonna recycle like the old storyline of. I think it was like.
No pun intended. Champion.
Yeah, no, what was it, like 2016, I think? Like the very last SmackDown of the year, like Daniel Bryan finally gives in. Or no, 2016, oh my gosh, 2013. And like he has a couple matches with them and then he finally like escapes them and like then that's when he goes.
Awesome.
Yeah, and that's
awesome.
when he had his WrestleMania moment in New Orleans, WrestleMania 30. Like not that long after that. But I'm wondering like maybe you could bring that storyline but have Daniel Bryan the leader like you said. And then that would actually like
oh, that would be really
solidify
cool.
like the heel, like Daniel Bryan, because I am always for babyface like Bryan. I love him as a babyface.
I love him as a heel.
And as a heel, I was like questioning it, but the more he cuts promos and stuff, I'm like, oh well, yeah, like it makes sense. Like he could carry it.
Yeah.
But if he could do that, that would make him like at the pinnacle of him being a heel, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool, and and then you could get people behind Bray Wyatt again.
Yeah.
That'd be dope as hell. So there was Ricochet and Aleister Black again versus Rusev and Shinsuke. And they're saying like, oh, what's their team name? I was like, oh, it's Nakamachka.
Nakamachka.
That's what they should call them, Nakamachka.
Weird thing to try to get their names.
Yeah, I didn't like the Lana segment. It was really weird and forced. Like she was like, you don't look that extraordinary.
Turn into
to Ricochet and like Aleister Black who's like, yo, make him fade to black. I was like, I don't. Why don't stop?
Just let him.
I don't know. It just sounds like that's not how people
I think
talk.
they shouldn't have pulled Lana from when she was wrestling because she was actually getting some momentum and doing decent before they put her back
She
to
won
ballet.
a match, yeah.
Yeah.
Because she had never.
The Mixed Match Challenge was her first win.
Yeah, you're doing great, sweetie.
You did it.
Honestly, like if you're gonna like criticize people that can't wrestle, it's like, well, don't pull them, and put them back to ballet or whatever. Like, there's a reason they're trying to wrestle, and like become credible wrestlers. So it's like, don't pull them at their detriment whenever it's beneficial for a storyline that's only gonna last for so long.
It's not a belt; it's a title. Gump. Okay. First of all, Sanic was here. Wait. But what were we talking about?
The Lana
Rusev.
segment with Ricochet
Rusev.
and Aleister Black.
I love Rusev, and I'm glad that he didn't take the pin. Aleister Black and Shinsuke should have a feud because they
look like
They'd
fought
be
well
awesome.
together.
Yeah.
It was a great match.
Yeah.
Just them.
I think they're both just really good. I like the come on sitting cross-legged, like that's perfect. That's like could be iconic if it was like at a pay-per-view or something, like after a long feud or something like that. I thought that was really cool. And then we got, you mentioned John Cena's open challenge. We got R-Truth. He said, I'm doing what my idol, my hero, John Cena's doing.
How long has that been a thing? Is that recent? Like,
no,
he praising John Cena?
I don't think he's done that ever. Sonic said something about you giving me the channel. If that's the case, we got renovating to do. You'll never get your hands on this channel. Shut your mouth.
Back to wrestling.
Back to wrestling. Yeah, we're talking about wrestling, dude. What?
We were talking about the open challenge
R-Truth
Yeah, he's just like
thing been a while.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's ever done that before.
No.
I thought little Jimmy was going to be the one to answer the open challenge. You guys remember that? He had his imagination.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh my god! It's so funny. It's like it's actually a little Jimmy. I prefer like an actual
someone come out.
Yeah, that would be really funny. Like Gabby wants Sister Abigail to be like an actual wrestler, not Bray Wyatt in drag, but she was like Nikki Cross should get like possessed by like the soul of Sister Abigail.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Become even more crazy.
See, that's a good storyline.
And then like I was like, dude. But they already made her lose, so whatever. And I was like, you could do that. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, he answers it, Ray and Andrade. Ray and Andrade have been putting on like
clinics of what wrestling should be, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I hated it at first because I'm like, why do Mexicans always?
You always put the two Mexican dudes together.
When Alberto Del Rio came, it's like, have him fight Ray. Why? They're the same color.
No, but they have such good like in-ring chemistry together. And when they first fought, they weren't even the main event on SmackDown. I don't think the very first time they fought, and people were like so like over with the match. Like I mean, like the crowd was so over with it. Like they were like like every step of the way with it. And then they had like a 2 out of 3 falls match like not that long ago, like a month or so ago, and that one was really good.
I was just like, Andrade needs to win, like pick up the wins. Because like we're gonna love Ray no matter what, and you saw this. I think this was a great way. This shows you how to keep everybody strong. Yeah. Because Ray was the one that got pinned. R-Truth retained. He did what he was supposed to do, and then Andrade didn't take the pin, and that's fine. And then he starts beating up Ray because he establishes himself. He's the heel, but then Ray still comes out on top. Babyface, he's not an idiot. So I thought that was really cool. I thought that was great. Yeah. Is Triple H still wrestling? Oh, that was actually about wrestling. Hold on. It's still wrestling. I remember him when I watched a bit of wrestling. Dude,
actually is about
he's about to come back. Yeah. He's going to fight Batista. Do you know Batista? Oh, you know Batista. Drax, the Destroyer.
Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy.
He made his return on Monday. You should scroll back. Keep going back. Keep going back.
Yeah, he returned as Drax.
Go back to like the 30-minute mark, more or less.
Yeah, something like that.
We're already at an hour.
Oh, dang. I didn't even know. Yeah, so everyone looks strong. Great match. R-Truth, he was surprisingly good still.
He's the only guy I liked other than Undertaker and Cena and Johnson. Is it Johnson?
And Johnson. Johnson, dude, he's the best. Dwayne Johnson?
I was trying to make sure I read that right.
His close friends call him Johnson. That's funny. But yeah, do you like that one? You guys like that match as well?
Yeah. My favorite part of that match was when I think it was Andrade. Would carry Kofi on it? Not Kofi. R-Truth.
R-Truth. Sorry.
And then Ray was maybe we can just get past this.
All right, thanks, Snowball. Have a good one. Appreciate you tuning in. I'm too lazy to type the full names.
But yeah, where he had him on his shoulder and Ray did off the top rope. And
yes.
That was
it was awesome.
Ray still got it. How old are you, Ray?
I know. He looks better than he's ever been.
Like 40.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he was old. I was like, damn, Ray. Okay, I see you out here.
I watched a video of like in WCW where they made Rey Mysterio take off his mask in the ring.
Oh, and that's how and
you could see him like upset. Like he didn't. It wasn't like it was like they told him to take it off. Like management, like you have to take it off with the storyline or whatever.
And he fought with it for a while.
Yeah, and he's just like you could see him like so emotional. Like you're not supposed to take off your fucking mask.
Yeah.
How dare you make him do that?
How old is Triple H? He's gotta be old for the sport. He'll be entertaining the arena with a walker.
Have you heard of this man called Ric Flair?
Triple H is like 44 or something like that. I'm gonna look
fact check it. He's the game, and you know how to play him. Alright, then Charlotte cut a promo, pretty good promo.
Yeah, that was a good promo.
She's always been a good heel promo. He's 49. That's right. He
What?
Yeah.
He's about to be 50.
Yeah. He looks great though.
You look good, dude.
What's his secret?
Jim.
No, it's On a
blood of
completely
my
unrelated
enemies.
note, at his house, he has his like own like personal gym, and so like Stephanie McMahon will post what they call like midnight workouts, and they call it DeFranco's gym because they have this trainer.
Philip DeFranco.
No, his last
James
name's DeFranco, but I forget his first name. And they do like midnight workouts, like they do like the
God.
chains, the sled pulling, like the
He
weights,
does,
like all that stuff. No, but like I get impressed with Stephanie McMahon, like all
Yeah,
the stuff that she
does
does,
it.
like she's actually jacked, like.
So he does the Ben Affleck Batman workout.
He does?
Yeah, just the tire. Right, probably with the sledgehammer. He's just there. Is Triple H Batman? Fact check that.
I've never seen them both in one
Oh,
place.
I've never seen Batman and Triple H in the same place. Oh my god, that's funny. Charlotte Flair.
Flair?
That's how you say their real name, actually, Fleer.
Oh.
It's Fliehr.
Because Gum said that Triple H is old for the sport. He's like Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. And then he said Triple Threat. Triple H, Barnacle Boy, Mermaid Man. Versus every villain is lemons. So then it's confirmed that Ronda did relinquish the title. And then that's like good storytelling. Now you have to watch Raw.
To see what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's good universe building. Good job, Charlotte.
Those three versus Thanos.
Have you guys... The wrestling stone, he's going to get it. He doesn't have that. Yeah, I think it's fine. Then we got Lacey Evans doing nothing
The
again.
thing.
Don't even get me started on that. I'm just like, wrestle, do something.
Yeah.
They're just setting her up to fail because everyone's just starting to hate her. Right?
Yeah.
This is why people didn't take women's wrestling seriously, because you do stupid bits like this.
Just go back to the pants.
No.
We're gonna mud wrestle and stuff.
No.
Bring Lita and Edge back one more time.
No.
Time in the ring.
No. We're not doing any of that.
At least it was Lita, not Vicky.
Yeah.
All right, and we're done with that. No, but I think I'm just a faction fan, so I'm just like put her with
somebody.
Have it be a nice reveal. I feel her anger. Use it. We got AJ Styles segment with Randy Orton. He was like, "This is the house that AJ Styles built."
He's like, the house that you built.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. You were somewhere else when
Yeah, you
SmackDown.
heard about this. I was with them.
Yeah,
I'm excited. We had mentioned it before how there was going to be spots at Elimination Chamber where people were going to create feuds, and so of course it was AJ Styles and Randy Orton. And I honestly think that they'll produce a quality WrestleMania match. I just want to make sure the build is actually right, because you can have a really good match, but if the build isn't great, you're like, oh, they fought because they did this at this pay-per-view that one time. Like, you forget about everything else, and it's like, well, no, he did this, and he did this to him, and blah blah blah, and this is why we have this match, and then it makes it that much more meaningful. So.
Yeah.
I just think I'm just really excited for that. Just seeing like them mix it up in like the tag team match or the 6-man tag and an elimination chamber. Like, I'm very excited to see Randy Orton versus AJ Styles. I think they could. That's that's a matchup, like a WrestleMania matchup.
Oh,
doesn't
for
need
sure.
a title.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just like
Great on its own.
they've both been
It's
top
the two
dogs.
heavyweights going against each other. Like, that's what
Who are
it
you
is.
supposed to
And
root
that's
for?
what you
Who's
want.
supposed to be the heel in that situation?
I think Randy.
Randy's
Yeah.
supposed to be the heel at that point. Because he
Uh-huh.
RKO'd him and cost him his opportunity to stay in the match to continue fighting for the championship.
Stupid.
That was messed up. I just recently saw that. I was like, dang.
But he got his Kofi's revenge.
Yeah.
It's my favorite summer movie. Kofi's Revenge. That's my favorite slasher movie.
I need to watch that again.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then so we got the main event, Kevin Owens and Kofi. I almost said Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. He's coming out.
He should
Making
be
his debut.
Kevin Hart and The Rock connection. Definitely. Versus Rowan and Daniel Bryan. I don't think they like last names anymore.
Just
They got rid of Andrade. So I was like, no, he's Andrade Cien Almas. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, so weird.
Yeah. His first names.
Or like Rusev, he was Alexander Rusev. And then Cesaro was Antonio Cesaro, and he's just not Cesaro.
Yeah,
I
whatever.
think that one fits though. Those two last ones fit.
Yeah, but still, he hates two names.
Why?
He's like, it's not Rey Mysterio, he's just Mysterio.
Or
Or he's
like,
just Rey.
I think it's
just
Ray.
Like Wade Barrett, who used to be part of Nexus, like he won the King in the Ring that they brought a couple years ago. And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be King Barrett," so they just kept billing him as King Barrett.
I have some bad news for you.
Oh, but he was Bad News Barrett too.
That was the best one. Bad News Barrett.
I like that one.
He's like, "Hey, I've got some bad news," and then he just
What happened to the guy?
He didn't renew his contract.
Yeah, he's on the indie scene now. He's wrestling for Defiant, which is World Culture Wrestling's thing.
Oh, for real?
Mm-hmm.
Or he's not. He's like their general man. He's their manager.
Yeah.
Stephanie McMahon. You're right.
You're right.
Dude. But for this match, the Kevin and Kofi, the 4-man tag team match, whatever. That the commentating was the worst I've ever heard in my entire life. It was just Byron Saxton and Corey Graves
talking about Vince McMahon and all that?
No, yeah, talking about it's like, oh well, if you're a professional like Kofi, you don't get your chance and blah blah blah. Shut up! Shut up! Call a match. I understand bad guy, good guy, commentators. I understand that. Shut up.
Talk about the match.
Just talk, please. For the love of God, talk about the match. It was the worst commentating.
Yeah, I feel like they focused on that way too much. I was like,
oh
still
my
talking
God,
about this?
dude, shut up. Why don't you talk about Carmella?
I know.
Damn.
This guy. That's
Nah, fuck him. He sucks. He should. I don't know the story. I'm not going to spread it.
Yeah.
But look it up.
If you want to know, I can tell you.
No, we're not going to talk about it.
No, we don't talk about personal lives. We only talk about the wrestling.
Yeah.
And storylines. That's it.
But yeah, that's pretty crazy because it was like. It felt kind of weird with the Kevin Owens and Cody because like he was tagging him else like his own stuff in. I was like, okay,
like what is it? Are you a babyface or not?
Yeah.
Yo, anger growth. Yeah, I felt that too. It's like what I think like it was like what's the crowd supposed to do?
Yeah,
like, we love Kofi, and so I think maybe they're trying because Dan O'Brien's a heel. No one wants a heel versus heel, I guess.
Yeah.
Even though I think it'd be cool if you did like Randy Orton versus like Samoa Joe.
But that's different.
Yeah, different, but still same.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I thought they did a good job. I think this was the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Because now it's just like we're still like wondering. Like, here we are talking about like, is he going to be heel or babyface? What's going to happen in Fastlane? Like how does this all work out?
Right.
And so I get that's exactly what you want. I thought it was a good quality match, and Kofi seemed to get won over by Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
And like how I think us as the fans are supposed to feel the same way, on which I think we did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I liked it. Which is pretty cool, and then Kevin Owens is the one who got the pin, actually.
Yeah,
but Kofi was still doing, like, being Kofi and being awesome.
Yeah. He's still being dope as hell.
Yeah.
A high fly. I'm a sucker for high flyers for sure.
Same. That's why I like Ricochet so much.
Yeah.
And Finn.
And Ray.
Just everybody.
Ray.
And Jeff.
Yeah, Hardy Boys.
I feel like the Hardy Boys compared to Ricochet, like, they're just more like one big moment, like Jeff Hardy and all them, but Ricochet and all them, they're more fluid. Like, they do, like, the high fly stuff throughout the whole match, where, like, Jeff Hardy just, like, a one big crazy ass stunt.
Yeah. But, like, even then, like Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy, when they were younger, they had some of that fluidity. I think it's just the fact that over time, like, people have been so, like, not obsessed, but they've been focused on, like, honing and perfecting their craft.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, I want to do something new. I want to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's, like, a really good thing, too, because, like, if you look at, like, women's wrestling, like, 30 years ago versus now, they were not doing any of the stuff that they do now. And so that's just speaking to evolution over time. Yeah, progression. So I think that's kind of also because, like, Matt and Jeff, they used to, have really good moves. And yeah, they had some of their moments like where it was just the one move, like you said, but they definitely did. I think they started out that way. It was just like they didn't have so much of like a development like Ricochet does now, and so that's why there's so much fluidity with it and with his moves.
Yeah, and also he's just something special.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Like,
His
it's definitely that evolution though as well. Like it's like let me push the limits, dude, and he has. But I feel this what you're saying about like the fluidity. I feel like that for all the NXT call-ups.
Yeah,
like they just go at a different pace.
Yeah.
And I think it's really awesome. I love what
even
they do.
205 Live to an extent, like because you look at someone like
Buddy
205
Live.
Yeah,
Definitely they just bring energy. With
for sure. And then like you look at Buddy Murphy, who was an NXT Tag Team Champion. He was never known for like the big stuff that he's done now. I mean, yeah, he did it here and there, but like after he wasn't on TV and they weren't sure what he was gonna do, like he just focused on like honing his craft. And like you see all the crazy moves he does now. Like when he won the title from Cedric Alexander last year, like that was such a really good worked up quality match. And he just continues to produce that like day in day out every time on 205 Live.
Mm-hmm. And I just don't watch 205 Live because I watch too much wrestling. There's so much wrestling.
3 hours on Monday already.
All you have to do is look at the highlights of the cruiserweights, and you're like, okay, like they have really good fluidity, and they keep it high energy.
Yeah, I just hate how it's on the pre-show.
Yeah.
Every time.
That one should have actually been on the card. It was a good quality match, the championship match.
Gump, we're not ignoring you. I'm saving that question for the end. But I love how Kevin Owens used a stunner.
Oh yeah.
Like, has it always been? Or he just debuted it?
No, he just did it like that day.
Oh dang!
Mm-hmm.
I saw that. I was like, oh shit!
I was like,
you gonna see the stunner again?
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. Fits his character to have a stunner and to steal it too. But like I said, I think that, or like we were saying for the other matches, like you pin Daniel Bryan, but it's okay. He's still the champion. Like he still has something to show for it. Kevin Owens is returning, and then we love Kofi. Like, and Rowan looked like a big hulking dude in this match, which I think he kind of might have lost being just like a henchman or whatever. Yeah. So everyone still looks strong.
The whole match, the whole match was good for everybody. Yeah,
and I hope that we get. I hope Kofi can come back and be in the title picture still. Same. I don't think that they would do that without like knowing that people want Kofi. Yeah, I think they're just trying to prolong it, like because if Kofi would have won that freaking match at Elimination Chamber, they would have blown the roof off. Like everyone was behind him.
Oh yeah, everyone wanted to win. I was like, Kofi. I was like,
oh damn. Houston too. I was like, oh my gosh.
And I think that's just like a testament because like someone like me is like, I love Daniel Bryan no matter what. You can be heel. I don't care. I'm gonna root for you. Like you want me to root for AJ Styles? He had the title for a whole year, whatever. Like go Daniel Bryan. I want you to win. Yeah. And then they finally got me to root against Daniel Bryan with Kofi, and I was like, he fucking got me. Because I just want Kofi to get it so bad. So I feel like you could have what's his face? You could have Seth win at the Universal Championship. I think that because last year we got like a lot of people retaining, so I think we should at WrestleMania. I think we should
need some title changes up in here for real.
Yeah, and I think we need to end on a feel good moment because we haven't done it in a few WrestleManias. Yeah, we've gotten.
Because they're too busy. They're too busy giving it to a part timer who doesn't have passion for the business like all the other people in the back. Just saying. Just saying. I don't care if he shares a birthday with me. That's not the point.
I don't care. I think that Brock doesn't need the title, especially if he's going to be a part timer. I think I don't mind what he does. Like he shows up when he's asked to. That's the problem with WWE more than it is with the man Brock Lesnar. I think he's just such a big draw, and I understand why they do that. And your anger. Stop it! No anger. But I think he's a definite draw. I definitely want to see him against certain people still. Like I don't know. I like it when he shows up because he's one of those guys too that brings us like, oh shit, this crazy energy. Whenever he's in a match, it usually just means finishers versus finishers. But there's some like when he's able to put on a match with an AJ Styles, with a Daniel Bryan, and with Finn Balor, like where they can tell a story. When he cares, he can make a good match. So overall, SmackDown were all pretty good. Oh yeah. Yeah. Raw maybe better than SmackDown. Definitely for the first time in a while.
I was gonna say for the first time in a while, Raw actually had some good draws. Like for the main attraction and whatnot. So I think they definitely booked the matches better. They can improve for sure, as always, but they definitely have been better. SmackDown is the one that was carrying it for me for the longest time until recently. Sure.
So do you think without Batista returning, Raw still would have been better?
No.
No, so that's the thing that makes it.
It pushes it over the top.
Yeah, for sure.
Overflows with goodness. Like it was such a feel good moment at the end, and it's like, it's not supposed to be a feel good moment, but I felt good.
Yeah, I mean, you got one in the beginning.
Yeah. You started off on a high, you ended on a high.
Okay, so we got Gumpass's question: favorite wrestlers, go, or favorite wrestler?
HBK, always has been, always will be. Okay. Even though I'm hearing a lot of stories about him now. That's a jerk. But he's still my favorite.
I think mine's it's like a toss up between like Undertaker and like Rey Mysterio. I think honestly, like when Rey Mysterio won the world title, like it was like the Astros winning the World Series.
It was like, oh, he actually did it.
It was like the Cowboys winning the fucking Super. I don't know how that feels, but but like it was like a favorite team that I follow, like winning it.
Actually,
and I was just like I was like. We fucking did it, right?
We did it, right?
We did it for you, Eddie! This is for you! I love Rey Mysterio. Yeah, he's awesome.
Well, it depends, because if you're talking about like wrestlers like from before, like I would say Triple H just because that's who I grew up watching. Like my dad used to watch it whenever they had the Saturday Night SmackDown or whatever, and I was like probably like
Saturday's Main Event.
Or that. Thank you. I couldn't remember what the name was. But yeah, like my memories of watching wrestling were me and my dad eating a bowl of cereal when I was like 5 and we were watching Triple H on TV. So like he's always been one of my favorites. And like currently I'd have to say Finn Balor. So yeah.
Currently, Rey Mysterio. Well, there's a bunch of people that I really like, and I just want them to do well. Like the way that I felt when Rusev won the U.S. title. I was like, hell yeah, dude. Like, it was kind of not as big as like Rey Mysterio winning the world title, but I was like, yes, you got it. Like, you just, hell yeah. And like, it meant something to him. And he's a guy that just got himself over. He's like, they're not helping me. It's like Rusev Day got a whole bunch of chants. And like, he just got himself over, and like, it meant something. He made himself a baby. He earned the baby face from being a heel. Did. And just from being himself, from being a funny guy, funny big dude.
He really is funny though. Like, he really is.
Check out Total Bellas or Total Divas.
Total Divas, but they're not going to be on the next season.
I'm out.
I don't want it.
I'm out! But I just like Rusev is also one of those people. I just want him to do good. And then they run in him again. They're like, you're a bad guy now.
Well, why? We like
it. No, you're not a bad guy to me, Rusev. You're not a bad guy to me, Ruru.
It's always Rusev Day still.
It's always Rusev Day to me, damn it. All right. Any last thoughts before we go?
I wish I could do the Triple H thing with
Kristen, hurry up, catch it. We'll have to have her on one of these times so she can talk about her love for Triple H and her fantasies. All right, thank you guys so much for joining. I wish I had a rock bottom. Rock bottom, I guess. All right, cool. I'll rock bottom me any day of the week. Thank you guys so much for joining us, for staying for this long. It definitely went over. Andy, if you're watching in the future, thank you. Sorry we couldn't figure out how to get us all in here. Next week we'll have our predictions and stuff for Fastlane, but it doesn't really matter because I'm going to retain. Thank you guys so much.
Like you said, you gotta make the title changes, Nico.
Not yet. No one's gonna take Violet from it.
I thought it was Velvet.
Nah, I said it wrong. Okay. I'm the Ovaltine Dream. All right.
Ovaltine.
Keep it out there, Triple Believers. We're out of here. Now I gotta figure out how to turn it off.